Music is people. The hills and valleys of Kentucky have resounded with the distinctive songs of a hardy folk for over 3 centuries. The music of Kentucky is drawn from the sinews of its pioneer people and their ancient heritage. From the very beginning, music has been a bright thread spun through the homespun fabric of the everyday life of the Kentuckian. And what is their music? They've sung of all the basics of existence. They've sung of birth and death, love and hate, of courting and betrayal, battles and loneliness, sorrow and fun, work and loss.
With their truck lashed to wagons or longboats, these early Anglo-Saxon minstrels trudged through the gaps from Virginia or poled down river in rafts and longboats on the waters of the Ohio.
The first white man in Cumberland Gap was Dr. Walker, an English chap. Cumberland Gap, way down yonder in Cumberland Gap. Daniel Boone on Pinnacle's Rock, he killed Indians with his old flintlock. Cumberland Gap, way down yonder in Cumberland Gap.
Into the new green wilderness of Kentucky, they brought a legacy of Elizabethan ballads, which slowly through each new generation, they began to fashion into their own country folk tunes. The songs of sailors and soldiers and poets had kindled their sense of adventure and exploration in a new land to be had for the taking. Now, some settlers were self-taught musicians, others was trained in melody making. Theirs was a tradition which had flowered into an age of song. Commoners and courtiers alike sang of ancient legends, of bravery and despair, telling their tales with music. The isolated mountaineers of southern Appalachia became America's contemporary Elizabethans. Collectors and scholars began traipsing the valleys and ridges in search of old ballads. Miss Jean Thomas, a native Kentuckian and court reporter known to her mountain friends as the Traipsin' Woman. And the entire Ritchie family of Viper, Kentucky, all became renowned collectors.
Well, as the country grew, Kentucky grew. The river took the people west to the Mississippi and on down to New Orleans. At the Battle of New Orleans in 1815, the Kentucky frontiersman really immortalized himself in history and in song with his fantastic marksmanship. Now, the ballad about these hunters of Kentucky was later used by Andrew Jackson as a campaign song. Ye gentlemen and ladies fair who grace this famous city, just listen if you've time to spare while I rehearse a ditty. And for the opportunity, conceive yourselves quite lucky, for 'tis not often that you see a hunter from Kentucky. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky. We are a hardy, free-born race, each man a fierce stranger. Whate'er the game, we join and chase, despising time and danger. And if a daring foe annoys, whate'er his strength and forces, we'll show him that Kentucky boys are alligator horses. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky. Oh, Kentucky, the hunters of Kentucky.
The plunk of the banjo and mandolin, both probably derived from the lute, rang out across the waters and captured the joys of the music makers. People were going places, doing big things and having a high old time. The banjo became the new American folk voice of the country and city people. They played in a style called frailing, which is still used by many players, old-timers and young alike. The fiddle, known to the pious mountain folks as the devil's instrument, began to enliven the hoedowns and reels. Young people who were lured away from the innocent singing at play parties by the dastardly sound were scorned by the elders as unrepentant sinners. So Mr. Lincoln of Kentucky went to Washington, and hotheads fired on a fort called Sumter. On both sides were singing armies. They marched with their instruments alongside their rifles. Sometimes camped on opposite sides of a river, awaiting the dawn's battle, rebel and Union soldiers would join in the same songs. The boys limped home across Kentucky's ravaged land to their burned barns and silent chimneys. Finally, the bluegrass regained its bloom, and Kentucky prospered in its fame for good tobacco, sipping whiskey, fast horses, lovely women, and plenty of music. Even Stephen Foster gave the state a song.
Of progress, the roads pushed further into the hollers and coal mines slashed across the green mountains. The land and its people endured a new kind of ravishment, and still the people sing, their voices telling new tales in a new way. They sang of moonshining and feuding and hard times and high passion. And there were young voices now, raised in protest.
With the mines came disasters, black lung, explosions, cave-ins, death. On the Black Mountains, men, women, and children waited and wept their keening lament.
Oh, when I was a curly-headed baby, my daddy set me down upon his knee. Said, son, you go to school and learn your letters. Don't be no dusty miner like me. I was born and raised at the mouth of the Hazard Holler. Coal cars roaring and rumbling past my door. Now they're standing rusty, rolling empty, and the yelling in don't stop here anymore. I used to think my daddy was a black man with scrip enough to buy the company store. But now he goes downtown with empty pockets, and his face is white as the February snow. And I was born and raised at the mouth of the Hazard Holler. Coal cars roaring and rumbling past my door. Now they're standing rusty, rolling empty, and the yelling in don't stop here anymore.
What do all these songs mean? They mean that music is people, and that folk is the music of the people, giving music back to the people. And that is the sound of Kentucky.
And I love you always will. She's my rose of all Kentucky. I watched her bloom as years roll by. And to me there'll never be another. I'll love her till the day I die. I watched her bloom as years roll by, and to me there'll never be another. I'll love her till the day I die. You've often wondered, so I'll tell you the reason why. She's my rose of old Kentucky, and her love will never die. She's my rose of old Kentucky. I watched her bloom as years roll by, and to me there'll never be another. I'll love her till the day I die.